For those of you joining us on NFL.com and NFL Mobile, welcome to Thursday Night Football on NFL Network. You know, we came on here talking about the problems of the Colts on offense, but it gives us an opportunity actually to look to the other side of the ball where their defense often doesn't get enough credit.
Yeah, and Tony Dungy, coming to Indianapolis, was known as a defensive-minded football coach. He has been all his life. And really, you go back to the Super Bowl season of a year ago, the difference really wasn't the play of their offense, it was the play of their defense. When Bob Sanders came back into that lineup, everything just seemed to gel, and that defense really got it done all the way through the playoffs.
And a smaller defense than folks are accustomed to seeing in the NFL.
Yeah, they really are, because they almost are able to draft and pick guys that other teams don't want to have, because they have smaller guys that are known for their speed and their quickness. And when you watch them during the course of this game, you'll really enjoy watching the athleticism of these guys. They just fly around the ball. For the most part, they're usually 30, 40 pounds lighter than the opposing offensive line, but they find a way to get it done.
Their front seven, the lightest in the NFL. Adam Vinatieri gets us started, and this is Jarris Norwood. 1 yard deep in his end zone, gets it back to the 21, and that's where the Falcons will get us started. Only guard Justin Blaylock and center Todd McClure have started all their games this year. This is Norwood getting a first down, working his way to the 35 before being stopped there.
Well, the Atlanta Falcons going to come out with a little trickery right off the bat. Tyson Clabo out in front of Jarris Norwood there, and the Falcons understand they cannot block the Colts pass rushers tonight. They know that. So they're going to have to run the football consistently to have a chance here.
So Dunn is the deep back, 1st and 10 from the 35, and Dunn will get it. Second and 6, Harrington looking to throw for Crumpler, in and out of his hands. Would have had the first down.
And when you watch Joey Harrington play, he is a guy that is going to get it out of his hands. And I think in part it's why they decided to start him tonight over Byron Leftwich. The other part, Byron Leftwich didn't play very well last week. But you've got a guy in Joey Harrington, believe me, he's not going to hold on to the football. He is a dinker and a dunker, and when you're facing Mathis and some of the pass rushers the Colts have, that's a good strategy.
Our first third down conversion opportunity of the night for the Falcons. Harrington under pressure completes this one to Michael Jenkins. Would appear to have enough for a first down. Jenkins, one of those Falcons receivers, was drafted in the first round, but has so far been kind of a disappointment.
Watch Robert Mathis coming off the right side of your screen here. He is going to just miss. He ducks underneath Tyson Clabo and almost got his hand on Joey Harrington's arm, but able to get it out just in time.
Harrington looking near side, completing to Roddy White. He's forced out at midfield. Kelvin Hayden on that coverage. White, another one of those number 1 draft picks that the Falcons used on wide receiver, both White and Jenkins. Oddly enough, it's LaRon Robinson, a rookie, who gets a start tonight in place of Jenkins there.
Yeah, and Jenkins really hasn't gotten it done. Roddy White has finally developed into a bit of the player that they think that he could be, but this is a wide receiver core still finding itself a little bit.
Robinson wide left, that's White wide right, and the give is inside. Once again, it's Dunn. Dunn comes into this game needing just 26 to reach a milestone of his own. With 26 yards on the ground, he'll become the 22nd NFL rusher to gain 10,000 yards.
And of all the guys in the National Football League, about as classy a young man as you will ever find. There are just some special people that play this game, and he's played it for a long time. He's sort of at the end of his career now, but nobody represented the NFL any better than he has.
Harrington faced with another third, this 3rd and 7, the give in to Dunn, and he's close to the first down marker. Got a good block on the outside from Justin Blaylock.
How much do the Falcons want to run the football tonight? That time on 3rd down and 8, they're going with the inside handoff. Again, just an acknowledgement that they are not going to be able to pass protect, and they're going to go for it here on 4th down. Why not, Bobby Petrino?
Why not?
Well, we have to lose. Let's take a shot.
There's a man who's been under considerable fire down here. We'll talk about that as the night goes on. He's also the subject of considerable rumors. So they're put in an elephant backfield. Mahaly and McIntyre both in there. This is McIntyre. Would appear to have the first down. Jason Snelling, gets the first down. The Falcons still in business.
Well, Bob Sanders, one of the surest tacklers in all of football, has a shot. He's going to step up, number 21, and gets right into the backfield, which would have meant the Colts football at that point, but just bounced off. I think he got a little off balance having to take on the block of Obi Mahaly there and just was unable to make the play. We've seen him do that so much in his career. Couldn't make that one.
A rare carry for Snelling, who was just signed off the practice squad. Harrington under duress throws this one short, intended for Crumpler. That was Raheem Brock applying the pressure.
And Raheem Brock, in my estimation, is one of those unsung heroes on this Colts defense. He's a smallish 3 technique, but when he wasn't in the lineup a few weeks ago, you could just see the difference. The frenetic pace wasn't there the way that it is. This is a defense that's not going to sit and take you on with one-on-one blocks. They're going to be stunning. There's going to be a lot of movement. They're going to have to win with their speed.
This is Dunn once again, finds some room off the left side before being dragged down up there by Antoine Bethea. Will leave the Falcons with a 3rd and short. Give Mahaly credit for a key block.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I was about to say here. Obi Mahaly, the fullback, is going to end up with a key block on this one as he comes right through the hole. For a fullback, you just have to be an athlete. There you see the linebacker just try and duck underneath him, but if you can get that initial block the way that he did there on Gary Brackett, it's going to give a guy like Dunn a chance.
Call it 3rd and 1. This is Mahaly getting a rare carry for him.
Roll slow,
this
guys.
one's going to be close.
Slow. Let him go, let him go, let him go. Roll slow. Good job. Come on, come on. Give it to Mark.
Well, you've got to believe that regardless of whether it's a first down or not, we're
if you went for it at midfield, you're going to go for it here.
We're going to go for it again, I would think. You're probably right on the edge of Morton Anderson's range anyway, and take your shot. Now remember, this is a remade offensive line for the Atlanta Falcons. 3 of their starters are new, so not a lot of continuity.
He's going to take a shot, and Harrington seems to be having some trouble with communication. That's the second time he put his arms up in the air as he looked to the sideline. But they've got the elephant backfield in there again, both Mahaly and Snelling set behind Harrington. And he was not going to get that one off, so Harrington took their first time out of the half. We'll take it with him and come back. 9:06 to go in the first, no score. The Falcons, due to a communication problem and a time problem, were forced to use their first time out. They're facing a 4th and short on this, their 12th play of this opening drive. Snelling is the deep back. He'll get it. And he would appear to have the first down. Falcons doing this primarily on the ground, which is a bit of a shakeup for them this year. A running team for many years. This year, their running game has been absent.
Well, it's just an acknowledgement, really, of the fact that they can't really play head up in pass protection with their 2 new tackles, Tyson Clabo and Quinn Ojanaka on the outside. Not to mention D'Anthony Batiste now playing the guard position. So they're trying to keep this as basic as they possibly can.
With a new set of downs, Harrington will throw. Almost picked off on that side. Rocky Boyman almost got a hand on it.
One of the problems when you keep shuffling wide receivers and offensive linemen and quarterbacks and nobody ever gets a whole lot of work with anybody on the outside. That time, LaRon Robinson obviously thought that he was going on a deep route, and Joey Harrington, anxious to get it out of his hand.
Wonder why.
Threw it out of there. But it's, those are the kind of mistakes. They've got a nice little drive going, and just obviously a mix-up there, and now you're looking at 2nd and 10, and here come the pass rushers.
Work done as the lone back behind Harrington, who will throw to the far side, in and out of the hands of rookie LaRon Robinson. And Harrington will be left with 3rd and 10.
Well, they came right back to it. Same play, same look. Reminded LaRon Robinson what the play was that time, and he came with the quick out. You don't see the Colts cornerbacks in a lot of single coverage, but right now I think they're beginning to understand that the Falcons are simply going to try and run it at them. So now Bob Sanders coming down in the box, being that 8th man a lot more. And so these corners who are rarely tested now are going to get tested a little more.
Harrington throwing far side, completing to Roddy White. Would appear to have enough for the first down. And we have our first flag of the evening on the near side.
Offside defense, number 28, lined up in the neutral zone. Is declined. Play results, first down.
Nice to have veteran referee Mike Carey in charge of this game this evening. Falcons drive remains alive, 1st and 10 inside the 20.
Well, once again, we saw the same thing. Now, TJ Rushing was left on an island outside in straight man-to-man coverage against Roddy White. So much of this Colts defense is that classic cover 2 kind of a look where those corners roll up. So now these guys are getting challenged sometimes in a way that they don't typically, because the Falcons have been able to run the ball.
This is as good a drive as the Falcons have put together all season long. Empty backfield. Harrington with time. He had Crumpler, overthrew him.
And for Joey Harrington, that's just one that you have to make. He had Algie Crumpler wide open, tried to be a little bit too safe with that one. Working against Antoine Bethea, makes a nice move out, comes back to the inside. That's an easy pitch and catch. I mean, there's just no other way around that one.
Frustration on the face of rookie coach Bobby Petrino, who has had his problems here in Atlanta. They'll give it to Dunn. He won't get much. Bob Sanders coming up to make the stop at the 16.
Now that's the guy you just can't account for. You can block 7 of them, and then all of a sudden this guy named Bob Sanders comes down in the box and lays one on you like that. He was telling me a story not too long ago when he was in high school. They had sort of a king of the hill sort of deal where the middle linebacker was knocking everybody out left and right, and the only guy that was left that even wanted to try it was a freshman kid that came up and knocked him on his back.
18th play of the drive for the Falcons, 3rd and 7. Harrington looking for running room on the right side, throwing too high into the end zone. Intended for LaRon Robinson. He had him again.
Joey Harrington, that time he's scrambling out, had the opportunity and just launched it a little high. Bethea was there, maybe would have had a chance to knock this one down, but playing on the run, you've got to be able to make this one. He kind of fell out of that throw, and when he leaned back, the ball sailed high on him.
That was Simeon Rice who flushed Harrington out of the pocket, so we'll see Morton Anderson for the first time this evening. They'll spot this one at the 34-yard attempt for the 2nd oldest player in NFL history. He's perfect. And so with just a second less than 7 minutes to go in the first period, the Falcons hang on to the ball, put together a 19-play drive. They're leading 3-0. Good look at the Georgia Dome on a Thanksgiving night where inside the Atlanta Falcons have put together one of their best drives of the year. 19 plays, 63 yards, just a shade over 8 minutes before Morton Anderson converting on a 34-yard field goal.
And what's the key to that? They leave number 18 sitting over there watching.
That's a great defense against the Colts.
He's doing the same thing we're doing. He's sitting there watching the game. You got to shorten the game if you're the Atlanta Falcons. You want as few possessions as possible.
Michael Kanan gets this one aloft. That's Kerfonzo Thorpe, 1 yard deep in his own end zone. He'll get it back to the 24. Ball is loose. One official pointing that he was down. They've yet to unpile.
Well, remember, this is a reviewable play. You could take a look at it should the Falcons have fallen on it.
We'll try to sort it out when we come back. We'll take a break right here. 6:48 to go in the first, and the Falcons are leading by a field goal. NFL Network, your home for football 24/7. Manning will throw on first down. Almost picked off. He was going for Dallas Clark. Chris Crocker on the coverage, had it in and out of his hands.
Nice job here by the Atlanta Falcons getting early pressure off of the play action. Jonathan Babineau breaking through, and then it was Chris Crocker on the back end of that, breaking in front. But with all the injuries now to the defensive line of the Atlanta Falcons, to see that kind of early pressure, a good sign.
Crowd trying to make it difficult for Manning. He's heard this before. He's done this before. He'll give to a dive. Sidesteps one tackler.
Dallas Clark in the backfield is almost a fullback blocking type player.
Manning trying to beat the play clock. He'll get it off. He's under pressure and sacked. Jailbreak. Brooking and Boley, the outside and middle backers, getting there together.
That time they tried to go without a tight end on the line of scrimmage and just creating some short corners. Jonathan Babineau playing tremendous football right now, but they're basically just decided, because of all the shakeup to this Colts offensive line, they're going to come after Peyton Manning, and as it's been the last couple of weeks, it's working.
And Hunter Smith will punt this one away. Fair catch called by Adam Jennings. He'll make it successfully at the 39-yard line. We've got a flag here on the near side. So hold everything. Unusual.
And also remember the kicking team downfield, offense number 52. 5-yard penalty will be assessed at the end of the run. First down, timeout.
Strange start to this ball game. The Atlanta Falcons put together a 19-play scoring drive, and the Colts do a 3-and-out. It's the Falcons who are on top on the scoreboard right now, 3-0. We're back after this. Back in Atlanta, where the Falcons are leading 3-0, we noted how unusual that 19-play drive was for the Falcons. Well, not just for the Falcons. Turned out that 19-play drive was the most plays in any drive in the NFL this season.
How about that?
Who figured? This is done. Not finding much running room off the right side. Maybe back to the 45 before he stopped.
I tell you, this game's getting a little more interesting. The last couple of weeks, Peyton Manning and this Colts offense has not been very good. A 47-ish sort of quarterback rating. You almost have to go back to his rookie season to find numbers like that. And then you come out in the first drive with all this shakeup in your offensive line, and clearly the Falcons are just going to attack, and it did not look good for the Colts.
2nd and 9, and Norwood will try his walk off the right side, not getting much there. Favre versus Romo, that's next Thursday for us. NFL Network is going to bring you the NFC game of the year, the Packers and the Cowboys, an NFC showdown. Packers-Cowboys next Thursday at 8 Eastern on NFL Network. Both of them made it look easy today.
Yeah, you know, my gut feeling is the Cowboys are the favorite and the best team in the NFC, but it seems like every week now the Green Bay Packers are getting better and better and better. And if you have to say which team has the better defense right now,
Green Bay.
Probably the Packers.
Probably
yeah.
so. 3rd and 7 for Harrington. Gets pressured right up the middle, completes it to Norwood, who will get it back to midfield, but he'll be far short of the first. That was Raheem Brock again getting pressure inside. And we've got a flag. Our 3rd of the night.
Offside, defense number 78. 5-yard
Well,
penalty.
this is an
Third
odd
down.
night. Now that's the Colts' 3rd flag of the night. They are the third. They have the 3rd fewest penalties in the league this year. They're averaging only shade under 4. They've already had 3, and we're not even done with the first period.
But I tell you, both these offensive lines right now are having some serious issues. D'Anthony Batiste, a late replacement at guard for Keenan Fournette, that time just completely whiffed on Raheem Brock. These two quarterbacks going to have to apply for battle pay here pretty soon. Nobody's blocking anybody out here.
So it's left Harrington with 3rd and 2 and an empty backfield.
Good luck.
Good protection this time. He's got an open man. Roddy White at the 20. Touchdown Falcons. Brings a smile on the face of offensive coordinator Hugh Jackson.
Well, they're picking on the rookie on the outside, Dante Hughes. Tim Jennings not starting in this one. And Roddy White just simply beating Hughes off the line of scrimmage. The protection was there, and that really was the key. We're seeing these Colts cornerbacks who are not very deep. They've got some injuries right now, having to play single coverage. They're not used to doing that during the regular season, and they're getting barbecued so far.
Joey Harrington, a 40-yard strike to Roddy White, has the Falcons on top, 10-0, with 3:44 to go in the first. On this Thanksgiving night, the fans in Atlanta are in a holiday mood, and why not? Their Falcons have come out great guns. 12 minutes into our first period, they've put 10 points on the board. 48-yard strike from Harrington to Roddy White, only the second play all year for the Falcons of 40-plus. This is Kanan kicking it away. Crafonzo Thorpe will get his second attempt at a return tonight. He's coming this side, needs a block, not going to get it. He'll be pushed out at the 23. Let's look at the score.
That time the Falcons go with an empty backfield, and on the outside, Roddy White is just going to make a great move off the line of scrimmage. Well, actually, he was the player up above that and was able to just win the battle at the line of scrimmage. And you go back to what is typical for the Indianapolis Colts. They're used to playing zone defenses. We've seen cornerbacks leave the Indianapolis Colts and get put in man coverage and not do very well. And tonight they're getting exposed in that same look.
Manning will throw on first down and complete the near side. Ben Utek gathers it in. Would appear to be just short of the first down.
So now if the Indianapolis Colts are going to have a good night passing the football tonight, they're probably going to have to do what they just did there. Go on first down, play action, try and draw some of the linebackers up, because they're not going to be able to just sit back and try and pass protect with the offensive line they have in there tonight.
This is Addae with his second carry of the night. Crosses the 35, gets it to 38 before DeMario Williams brings him down. And the man who's down is Addae, and this is not good for a team that is already struggling with its share of injuries. We're going to come back and check on the health of the Colts leading rusher right after this. Happy to say that Joseph Addae got up and walked off under his own power, but it appears he got dinged a little bit in the top of the head from Chris Crocker or Laura Malloy.
Well, just came up. You could see his head sort of jerk back at the end of that run, and boy, the Colts just cannot afford to see anybody else go out.
On first down, Manning throws. Clark gathers it in, almost lost it. Seemed to regather it on his backside there as he was in the arms of Chris Houston.
Yeah, Dallas Clark coming off a concussion a week ago, dropped a pass, and Peyton said, I couldn't get him to shut up. All he kept saying was, I'm sorry, man. I'm so sorry. I can't believe I did that. I'm so sorry. Like, shut up. It's all right.
The Colts are very thin at running back. They can hardly afford to lose Addae. Besides his talents, they only have two backup running backs, Kenton Keith and a rookie in Clifton Dawson, a rookie out of Harvard, no less. This is Keith. Forced out as he crosses midfield. No, they're going to mark him just shy of the 50.
And John Abraham wasn't too happy on that play. He thought he was held going around the corner there.
Keith will get it again. And again, he'll be forced out. This time, Jamal Anderson, the rookie out of Arkansas, who has started every game this year for the Falcons on that side, their top draft pick this year.
And basically, we're seeing the Colts now go back to the very basics of their offense, which is the stretch play right, the stretch play left, trying to establish enough of a running game to go with some play action off of it.
Manning with 3rd and 4. He has room on the left side. He has time, and he throws this one incomplete. Intended for Reggie Wayne. It was Chris Houston, the rookie out of Arkansas, came up and forced the incompletion.
Yeah, I was wondering tonight whether D'Angelo Hall would end up on Reggie Wayne all night. But I think Chris Houston, a rookie, has proven himself to the point where they're saying, okay, we don't need to flip-flop all the time. And I really don't know what Peyton saw there, because Houston was just literally standing next to Reggie Wayne, and Peyton really lucky that one wasn't picked off. A little enthusiasm out of this Falcons unit playing on national television.
Well, they were embarrassed
They
on
should
Sunday.
have been.
They were. And so Hunter Smith punched this one away, and again, this time Jennings will let it bounce inside the 10. It'll roll inside the 5 and be downed at the 3-yard line. Don't forget, you can vote for the 2008 Pro Bowl at NFL.com/probably, or you can text PRO to 7777 via your Sprint service. Also, register to win a trip to the 2008 Pro Bowl in Hawaii. All that exclusively at NFL.com.
You know, I don't care who you are. When you're a quarterback in this league and you're not used to getting hit. I mean, this offensive line for the Colts has been among the best in football over the last 10 years, almost all of Peyton Manning's career. And now you can see that he's thinking about it a little bit. He's been hit more in the last few weeks than he's been hit in a long time.
Harrington from deep in his own end will give inside to Jason Snelling. Snelling, an interesting guy. The Falcons liked him on their practice squad in preseason, but then made him available, and the Cowboys wanted to sign him. But he felt comfortable here, he felt wanted here, felt he had a future here, and he chose the Falcons over the Cowboys, which is a bit of a strange choice the way things have worked out, but he's happy.
Good choice tonight. He's getting to play a little bit. I'll tell you, we've got some real issues going on up front. D'Anthony Batiste, the right guard, has been getting handled on almost every play. That time Ed Johnson just drove him back in the backfield.
Norwood is the deep back. He gets it. Crosses the 7 before he's brought down by Freddie Keaho. And so Harrington, still deep in his own end, will be faced with a 3rd and 5.
And the Atlanta Falcons this year, really a completely different offensive look under Bobby Petrino. They had always been under Alex Gibbs, the old zone blocking scheme where you sort of move your offensive linemen like synchronized swimmers or something moving out there. Now they're more power blockers. They're double teams and they're fullback through, and a lot more power football.
Inside 30 seconds to play in our first quarter. Harrington will throw. Over the middle, in and out of the arms of Algie Crumpler. Stops the clock with 22 seconds left in this, our first quarter, and the Colts figure to get good field position.
Not a bad throw at all that time by Joey Harrington. That's Algie Crumpler's second ball that he had an opportunity with, and he's really the guy on 3rd down that's going to have to make that plays. I thought Harrington put it right there, and Crumpler just missed it.
So we'll see Michael Kanan, their punter, for the first time tonight. Kanan, one of the bright spots in what's been a dismal Falcons season. He'll boom this one away. And that's T.J. Rushing, fielding it at his own 45, looking for room on the outside before being forced out at the 43-yard line. Give Michael Boley credit for the stop. So the Colts will take the field for the 3rd time tonight. Their offense, with just 10 seconds to play in this, the first half, been a difficult evening so far for Mr. Manning.
And Mr. Manning over there talking to Mr. Tom Moore, who's been around a lot of tough situations, much tougher than this. Believe me, these two guys will have a way of getting it figured out. Tom Moore will tell you, though, as the offensive coordinator, hey, Peyton Manning cannot be wrong. Whatever he does out there is right. And I just sort of give him suggestions.
Joseph Adai remains on the bench. Kenton Keith is the deep back. Fake is to Keith, and Manning will throw and complete. Anthony Gonzalez inside the 10. First down, Colts, with as the time expires in the first quarter. Big strike here by Manning. One of our features this year, some snapshots from the sidelines going straight to the booth. We'll be back after this. As the first quarter came to a close, Peyton Manning completed a 35-yard strike to Anthony Gonzalez, the rookie out of Ohio State. Looked like D'Angelo Hall, who had the coverage there, thought he was getting help on the inside.
Well, really, Keith Brooking, the middle linebacker, was in the Tampa 2 drop, chasing Dallas Clark, and then Gonzalez just came in right behind him.
Hang on, guys. Hang on.
But he did get protection that time, too, which is really what set that play up.
So the Colts will have 1st and goal from the 8.
Peyton sees straight man-to-man coverage right now of the Falcons.
He'll throw on 1st down in the corner for Clark. Touchdown Colts. We have a flag down once again.
Face mask. Offense. Still first down.
Wow.
Great read that time by Peyton Manning. He saw the man coverage, took advantage of it with Dallas Clark right to the corner of the end zone, and then the face mask is going to completely take this one away.
That's the 4th penalty for the Colts tonight. That's more than they average for a full game. And that man can't be happy about it. This will move the Colts back to the 23.
Looked like Brian Fletcher working on the outside against Chauncey Davis.
I'd say that's face mask.
Got a little piece and cost his team a piece of a touchdown. Not going to see man coverage this time, I guarantee you.
Manning has Kenton Keith to his side. Wayne is to the top of your screen. He looks Wayne's way, but goes over the middle. In and out of the hands of Brian Fletcher. Dangerous throw there by Peyton.
It's all about the protection right now. It really is. Everything is happening up front. Jake Scott working against John Abraham, and it's just not fair. You've got Jake Scott, who's a guard, who's had to move out to the tackle position inside of him. Dylan Gandy, who hasn't been a starter. And so Peyton Manning now is just throwing up these prayers, falling away, and trying to make plays. This is going to be a long night, especially when you're taking touchdowns off the board.
But that one should have been caught. Fletcher had that. It's 3rd and goal from the 23. 2nd and goal, excuse me. Manning for Wayne. Touchdown Colts. What a throw. They picked on the rookie, Chris Houston. And that time Wayne beat him inside.
Great job that time by Reggie Wayne, leaning to the outside against Chris Houston. He made him believe just for a minute that he was going to go by him to the outside. Houston took just one little bit of a false step, lost track of him. Reggie Wayne cuts back inside. They're going to keep working on the rookie. A good play before, but that time simply too much. But again, that one set up by the fact no pressure that time on Peyton Manning. He had time to look.
Just 18 seconds into the 2nd period, the Colts have managed to pull within 3 on a strike, 23-yard touchdown from Peyton Manning to Reggie Wayne. It's 10-7 Falcons. In Atlanta, the Colts have managed to pull within 3 of the Atlanta Falcons on the strength of a 43-yard drive that was just 3 plays and consumed only 28 seconds.
Big comeback after that penalty, too, you know, to take
Very
a touchdown off the board and give up 15 yards and still score on that drive. Great play by Peyton and Reggie Wayne.
Not a deep kick. Norwood will field this one at his own 7-yard line. If he can get to the corner, he can find some room. He does, and gets it back to about the 44-yard line.
You talk to some of the players around here about Jarius Norwood, and they say, you know, we don't know where he's going most of the time. And that time the wedge was going right, and Norwood decided, what the heck, I'm going to leave 10 blockers, and I'm going back to the left-hand side, and it caught the Colts just a little bit off guard.
And we have a flag down. Mike Carey's going to explain it for us.
after the play was dead. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness on the kicking team, number 5, 9-5. 15-yard penalty, first down.
This is a very un-Indy-like game as far as penalties are going tonight for the Colts. That one's going to be on Darrell Reed, number 95.
Yeah, I don't think
there
it's on Adam Vinatieri.
There it is. Let's just go ahead and talk about Warrick Dunn for just a minute here, because he needs only 2 yards to reach 10,000 rushing, and that would be an incredible feat. He'd become only the 22nd player in NFL history to reach that mark. And what a gentleman this guy is, and what a pro's pro he's been for now 12 years in the NFL. Dunn will get it, and he'll be close to the 2 yards he needs.
That is absolutely 2 yards, and earned the way that he has earned so many over the years.
And there it is. What an incredible young man he is, too. You talk about a guy who could get applause in any arena in this country. It's that guy, number 28, Warrick Dunn.
Not only for what he did in Tampa, not only for what he's done here, but what he's done for his own family and what he's done for so many families around the country with some of the programs he's put together.
His Homes for the Holidays program is now in its 11th year and has helped 73 single mother families get housing and helping almost 200 children. He's a remarkable young man. This is Roddy White enjoying a big night, breaking a tackle and getting inside the 20.
But you know, Warrick Dunn had the unfortunate situation to have to learn of his mother's death. A police officer, he was called at home, all his siblings still asleep, and actually had to go down and identify the body. And then what he did from there is just a remarkable
January
story.
of '93, it was 2 days after his 18th birthday. He said he got the call at 12:30, and he said when he got the call, I knew she wasn't coming home. She was a 16-year veteran, the Baton Rouge Police Force, a corporal. Let's go down to the sidelines where Marshall Falk and Deion Sanders been watching this game along with us. And Marshall, I know that 10,000 has you in a little bit of awe.
Definitely, and when you think about it and how he's accomplished this, he shared time, he shared the load up until he came to Atlanta, where is when he got featured, when obviously they got rid of T.J. Duckett. I mean, Warrick Dunn is, when I watched the guy run, I felt like it was always an opportunity for him to take the ball the distance.
Deion, what are you seeing down there from this Atlanta offense? Why is it clicking as it hasn't all year?
Well, I think they're taking a lot of pressure off Joey Harrington. Started off the game with a reverse to Norwood. He's the only playmaker. When you think about losing Michael Vick, you're thinking about losing not only a passing game, but a playmaker in the rushing game. White has to step up offensively, and he is, and they're catching Indy with 8 in the box, and they're throwing to those young cornerbacks at Indy because they can't cover those guys outside one-on-one because they're used to playing in a cover 2 zone.
Harrington keeps it himself and gets to about the 13-yard line. So, Deion, if you're the Colts, what do you do?
First of all, I got to establish ourselves on first down. I got to put them in tenuous situations, but this is an undersized defensive line with the Colts because they're accustomed to playing with a lead. And the Falcons went out there, got off the field 3 and out. Peyton Manning moved out of the pocket. They're not having that lead, and they're a totally different team when they play from behind.
We'll take the second down play and then come right back to you. It's 2nd and 4. Harrington will give it to Dunn, and he finds tough yardage on the left side. We talked about it up here. Chris alluded to it earlier. I asked this of both of you. Chris alluded to the somewhat emotional hangover the Colts may be suffering from that loss to New England 3 weeks ago. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, when I think about it, definitely they felt like they had that game. They played 3 quarters of the best football that they had played all year against, a team that last year that they beat at home, and they felt like they should have won that game. And then you go on the road and you lose to San Diego by throwing 6 interceptions. You don't have Marvin Harrison. All the injuries start to mount up. But the thing is, you have to understand, they play in probably the best. They play in the best division in football, the AFC South, that they don't have a team with a losing record, and they have to hold their heads high and understand that they're heading that division right now. They have a bunch of injuries, and when they get those guys back, the depth that they'll have on this team will be tremendous.
Offense, number 19, covered up the tight end. Penalty is declined, fourth down.
So on, guys, I thank you very much, Dion and Marshall. I'll let you go get settled because I know you got big halftime doings coming up in just a little bit. Harrington on that third down play appeared to be rushed, threw it low, and then seemed to go off the foot of Freddie Keaho. In any event, they were called for an illegal formation, so that penalty was declined. They are left looking at a field goal attempt. Morton Anderson on for the second time tonight.
That's the same shoe I wore when I played. That one on the right. You know, he's only a year younger than I am, and I've been out of football for 18 years now. Look at that.
He's already made one from 34 tonight. This one will be from 30 yards out. 25 years in the league out of Michigan State. And he just drills this one. And so with 11:35 to go in the first half, Anderson has helped the Falcons to a 13-7 lead. Peyton Manning, you'll be back on the field with the Colts offense when we come back right after. Not sure time of possession ever means a great deal to winning and losing, but in this case tonight, the difference is glaring. The Colts have only had it for slightly more than 4 minutes. The Falcons have dominated the football, 14.5 minutes.
Well, and the Falcons have done something with it when they've had the ball. It hasn't
Which
just
is more
been
important,
false
yes.
yardage, right?
Profonso Thorpe will run this one back, crosses the 25, gets to the 27. And from there, Peyton Manning and the Colts offense will take the field and see what they can do about the 6-point deficit. We'll come back to Atlanta and the Georgia Dome after we take a break. Word from the Indianapolis sideline is that Joseph Adai has a neck injury. His return is questionable at this point, and so Kenton Keith remains in the backfield. First-year player out of New Mexico State. He's been a pro before. He actually spent 3 years up in the Canadian Football League where he played with Saskatchewan and averaged 6 yards a carry. First and 10 for Manning and the Colts. The give inside to Keith. And he'll get a first down as he gets it up to the 39-yard line before Lawyer Malloy and Keith Brooking come up to put an end to that.
One of the
Coming up at halftime, join Rich, Dion, Marshall, and Steve. The Wendy's halftime show. They'll have all the highlights and analysis and look at the day's other 2 games as well. Games in which both the Cowboys and the Packers came up winners. That's the Wendy's halftime show coming up in just a little bit.
Well, if you're going to beat the Atlanta Falcons here tonight with questionable pass protection, you have to run at John Abraham. He's the guy. He's the main pass rusher on this Falcons team. He's been giving them nightmares all night already coming after Peyton Manning. So now they're turning around and running right at him, just trying to slow him down, give him something else to think of, and give Charlie Johnson a chance over there.
On 2nd and 5, Keith will get it, and he'll go down in the arms of Jamal Anderson. Jamal Anderson was the 8th overall pick in the draft this year. They like him on that side, although he's yet to get a sack this year.
Not a pass rusher, and if you're going to take somebody in the top 10 in the NFL draft, you have to be able to get some sacks. He has none.
Keith trying to get to the first down marker. Looks like he's going to be about a yard short. That was Michael Boley leading the charge and getting help inside from Montavious Stanley.
Well, anytime that Kenton Keith has touched the football this year, he's had pretty good success in these short yardage situations. Only been caught in the backfield 3 times all year, but Michael Boley there holding the edge firm and making a huge play. This Michael Boley, in my opinion, has become their top linebacker. Everybody talks about Keith Brooking, and he's a fine player as well. But Michael Boley is the star of the future around here, and a guy that consistently has made plays all year.
And he's in his contract year, too. I asked him the other day, I said, so next year you get paid. You should have seen the smile on his face. We have a flag back down field as Hunter Smith goes down in a heap. Adam Jennings is brought down at the 25, but this one looks like it's going to come back. Hard to tell who got to Smith there. Both Williams and Boley were in the area.
I believe it was Demario Williams who went underneath Hunter Smith, and when he was landing on the ground, came down on top of Demario Williams.
Let's let Mike Carey have a say.
There are 2 fouls, both of them on the receiving team. Holding. During the return, holding by the receiving team is declined, number 38. And running into the kicker by number 58 of the kicking team, 5-yard penalty. The enforcement results first down.
Well, you heard it. They're going to get a first down out of this. And here it is one more time.
Off the left side of your screen, you'll see Demario Williams just simply come down underneath Hunter Smith. And on a 4th and 1, that hurts. Your defense makes a stand, you come off the field, and he did everything he could to try and keep from making contact. Missed him initially, but then came down on top of him.
Unfortunately, that's one of the bugaboos that have plagued the Falcons all year long. 15 special teams penalties coming into this game. That's the 3rd most in the NFL. You can tell Bobby Petrino is loving the call.
Yeah, they're going to protect the defenseless players in this league, and punters, quarterbacks, and wide receivers top that list. And referees look like unprotected players with Bobby Petrino after him.
Joseph Adai is back in the ball game. Moments ago we heard he was questionable. I guess he's answered the question. Manning will throw and complete this one to Ben Utek. Another first down for the Colts.
Dallas Clark is so much the key to this offense. When teams like the Atlanta Falcons are doing tonight are staying in a base defense with a linebacker walked out on Dallas Clark, Peyton Manning more often than not is going to throw the football. And because they have to pay so much attention to Dallas Clark on the outside, it opens up things right over the ball.
Manning to Utek again. And the Colts would appear to have another first down.
Literally the same exact play. They're going to look to the outside, look at Dallas Clark's side, come right back over the middle to Ben Utek and make the throw. Peyton Manning is one of those guys. Remember that Eagles song, Don't Trust Your Lion Eyes? If he's looking somewhere, he's not throwing the ball there. Believe me, he's not throwing it there. He's just doing that to make you move.
We're dating ourselves, quoting Eagles songs. And so Adai gets his first carry since he went to the sidelines. It's good to see him back.
Well, Peyton Manning does such a great job at the line of scrimmage. We've talked about it so much. But one of the things that they do by going to this sugar huddle and they get up to the line of scrimmage so quickly, it gives him a chance to dictate to the defense what they're going to do.
Manning now just needs 4 yards, only 4 yards to join that 40,000 club. 40,000 passing yards, he would become just the 10th in NFL history to do that. He would pass Johnny Unitas. Looking into the end zone for Wayne, overthrowing him and almost picked off by Chris Crocker. Oh!
It's a great read that time by Peyton Manning. They go to a single high coverage with the safety on his side. I think it was Crocker moving back towards the middle of the field, so he throws back against the grain to Reggie Wayne. But that time, Chris Houston, after getting burned on one before, was right there. Read Reggie Wayne all the way, had the play made, and made Peyton Manning pull off of it a bit. Big third down right here.
3rd and 8. Crowd trying to get into it and help out their defense. Peyton trying to beat the play clock. He'll look for Gonzalez, finds him at the 10, first down Colts. And that should take him over the 105 mark for the game, which will give him more than 10,000 for his career.
And it's a good thing he has a quick release, because John Abraham was coming that time against Charlie Johnson on the outside and just barely got it there. Peyton clearly has one of the quickest releases in football, and he needed every second of it that time. But Anthony Gonzalez has been a huge addition since coming back from his injury. A major difference maker tonight.
Colts will have first and goal from the 8. Manning inside, Clark, touchdown. Manning and the Colts wearing out the middle of the Atlanta defense.
That is the bread and butter, really, of this Colts offense. Somebody clearing out down the middle, that time Ben Utek, and Dallas Clark coming underneath. More often than not, you see Marvin Harrison do that, running in behind Dallas Clark in the middle of the field. That time they did it for a touchdown to Dallas Clark.
Adam Vinatieri adds the point after. So in a ball game that the Atlanta Falcons would seem to have dominated, not only on the field, but on the clock, they now find themselves trailing by 1 with 6:45 to play in the first half. The Indianapolis Colts have taken their first lead of the night on a scoring strike from Manning to Dallas Clark. And as you can see there, Peyton has passed the legendary Johnny Unitas for now 10th place on the all-time list, joining the 40,000-yard club. And Vinatieri will kick it away. This is Norwood. As Dion called him, Atlanta's only game breaker. He gets it back to the 29. We'll take a look at the score to Clark.
Well, Peyton Manning's so good at reading defenses, and this time I think he's going to see right in the middle of your screen there, Keith Brooking dropping back. This is a straight zone look. He could tell by the pre-snap look of that and simply knew that Dallas Clark was going to be open because of the depth of Brooking on that one.
So if you're Atlanta, what are you not doing that's letting them feast in the middle?
You know, I think you're doing the best you can. You're trying to change up looks against one of the great readers of defenses in the game, but I think they have to disguise that a little better. They're giving him some straight looks out there.
Harrington completes this one to Algie Crumpler, who is upended by Bob Sanders. He likes that one. Let's listen to it.
Trust me, I'm gonna be there. No, I hammered the fullback.
Oh, that was
and
the
then,
running back.
No, it was. I hit the fullback first and bounced off. He fell, and then I couldn't see him, and I turned sideways.
Right into you.
Yeah, it ran right into me. No, he didn't get it. No, come on.
This is Dunn working his way for what would appear to be a Falcon first down.
It's absolutely
Bob needs a little more enthusiasm.
It's the greatest innovation in sports that you can actually hear what goes on the field. You know, it looks so serious and we're all screaming and yelling as fans and all the different things. But to those guys, they're still having fun. I mean, Bob Sanders loves playing the game of football. He's only 5'8", and yet when you see him take on guys and knock them backwards, it's amazing. In the Super Bowl this past year, he was destroying people at the line of scrimmage.
Bob Sanders, a guy who owes a lot to his family, and asked his proudest moment. He didn't cite the Super Bowl or anything else, or Pro Bowl. He said, making my parents proud. And he has done that. Marion and Gene Sanders, wish them a very happy Thanksgiving. Incomplete on the far side, was intended for Roddy White. White's had a good night. 4 catches, 82 yards.
Yeah, he did. That time it was Bob Sanders in pass defense that came up and made the play, just barely able to get underneath it. It forced Joey Harrington to throw it just a little bit wider than what he wanted.
Harrington has surprisingly enjoyed a pain-free night. Colts haven't gotten to him. This is Dunn sidestepping one tackler in the backfield and getting to close to the 44.
I think the thing that I admire most about Warrick Dunn is he's a little guy. I mean, there's no question about it. And yet he runs tough between the tackles. He has always made his living, and he prefers running inside because of the agility and the ability to sidestep. But when you talk to his teammates, the number one thing they bring up, pass protection. The fact that here's this little guy that's willing to take on anybody, anywhere, and he stands up 250-pound linebackers and stones them. They do not run over him.
I asked him what the 10,000 would mean to him. He said it means a lot because he's never been anywhere where he's been the guy. That one was completed and knocked loose by Antoine Bethea. Colts have it. Sanders picks it up, looking for running room. May find some on the far side. He's got Harrington in front of him, but Harrington is dragged down. That's got to be a flag. It was Bethea who came up and applied the hit. that knocked the ball free. LaRon Robinson caught it, but he was leveled by Bethea. Ball came loose. Sanders picked it up.
Reminds you a little bit of the play that the Colts had against the San Diego Chargers.
Holding by the receiving team, number 41. 10-yard penalty. They retain possession. First down.
You know, everybody talks about what a big hitter Bob Sanders is, but Antoine Bethea, not only can he run, but he can hit like this. They have intimidating safeties in the back. You come inside on that slant, and Bethea just simply knocks him out. The ball goes flying up in the air, and then everybody gets a little piece of it after that. They manage to keep it alive. Kelvin Hayden comes up with it initially. He's going to lateral it off to Bob Sanders and try and create a play. That is a monster hit that looked like a clean hit, shoulder first.
And watch Harrington get mugged.
Yeah, and Bethea just a little with a takedown. That's a two-pointer.
Yeah, that would be a hold, I think.
Yeah.
That would be a hold.
It was too bad. That was the quarterback. I'm not sure he saw the number on the back of that jersey. That was an unnecessary block. Joey wasn't about to hit anybody there. Well, that was a big hit right there, right in the gut for LaRon Robinson. Good clean catch, turn, saw him.
Oddly enough, LaRon Robinson is a rookie that Bobby Petrino likes. So when I asked him how he's coming along, Petrino said the one thing we've got to...
By Atlanta, first down.
That is not going to be challenged by Atlanta after discussion with Petrino. But Petrino was talking about Robinson, and I asked him how's he coming along, and he said the one thing we've got to work with him on is yards after the catch. He's got good hands, but he can't seem to do what we need him to do after he gets a hold of it.
Well, that yak would be 0.
That would be 0.
That's a 0 and a cough. But give them credit. You know, the Colts, because of their offense, I think that people tend to think of the Colts as a bit of a finesse team. They are not. This is a football team that is powerful. They are quick to the ball. They get big hits, and they knock that ball out.
And so the Colts start with good field position. Kenton Keith is back, and Adai is once again on the sidelines. The fake is to Keith, and Manning will throw. This side, Gonzalez. Caught inbounds and then stepping out of bounds at the 16-yard line.
And again, you have to give Dallas Clark credit on that one. He got a clean release down the field, attracted the attention of the safeties. Watch Peyton Manning and those lion eyes again, looking down the middle of the field at Dallas Clark and then coming back at the last second to Anthony Gonzalez.
Peyton got that one off pretty quick because I'm not sure Gonzalez's left foot was inbounds. If we get a second look at that, you'll see it's very close.
Well, it was no accident that he rushed to the line.
Yeah, it was pretty close. The right foot gets down, but it's the left one that you got to wonder about. Watch, there is the right. Now here's the left. Ooh.
Was close. But you really have to feel.
Watch this view. Ooh.
Interesting. Not relevant, but
hardly matters now. 2nd and 8 for the Colts. And there's the challenge flag on the field, but I think it's going to be too late, frankly. Bobby Petrino has thrown the challenge flag out there, but I think Mike Carey's explaining to him that you're a little late.
Say, did you want the last one or the one in the first quarter? Which one are you challenging now?
The ruling on the field is a completed pass on the sideline. It's being challenged by Atlanta.
Wow, they're going to give it to him.
Now, unless they're going to say that flag was there before Peyton got off that.
And Peyton can't believe
play
it.
To the side.
So wait a minute now. We've already run a play. You can't come back and challenge that thing. Unless some referee saw that flag out before I did. I did not see it.
I think Mike Carey just.
Correction. The play that was being challenged was the one prior to the last one that was ran. There's no challenge allowed.
A little too late, Bobby. A little too late. I'm pretty sure Peyton knew that he was out of bounds, too.
I was getting ready to call Mike Pereira in the NFL offices, the head of the officials. I was like, wait a minute, you can't do that. And that's close. I mean, would that have been conclusive? You tell me.
That's pretty conclusive to me, yeah. He's got that toe on the white.
Your eyesight's better than mine. I'm going with you. And not Bobby.
Thank you, Dr. Latinsky. 2nd and 8. Throwing inside, Wayne. Another first down for the Colts as he's brought down at the 3, and this offense is humming now.
Yeah, and one of the things that happens, Brian, is that defensive linemen get tired playing against this hurry-up offense all the time. And right now you watch John Abraham and these defensive linemen, they're not coming with the same zip that they did in the first quarter.
Now, is that because the offensive line has figured it out?
Well, they only have to go a couple of steps backwards. Those defensive linemen, they have to work. Plus, he keeps them down in their stance. It sounds silly, but that's tiring for defensive linemen.
Manning, Ben Utek, caught, touchdown Colts. And suddenly this offense that had its problems for 3 weeks coming into here is humming in the second period.
Boy, about as good as you could do for Ben Utek. He gets a piece of the pass rusher on the outside, slow him down just enough, and still able to get out in the route and make a play on the left side of your screen. That time it was Lawyer Malloy who got fooled on the play. He was slow to get back with Ben Utek, who typically is the blocker down around the goal line. And this time, he was the receiver.
And Vinatieri makes it a 21-13 ball game. The Falcons jumped out to a 10-0 lead, but since then it's been all Indianapolis, and the Colts cash in this time after a big hit by Antoine Bethea turned the ball over. When we come back, the Falcons will try to mount their drive. We're inside 3 minutes in the first half. You take a look at Ben Utek on the sideline. Not bad catch for a guy who used to be a goalie in high school, and pretty good one too in the state of Minnesota, where hockey's actually important. They were second in the state finals. He was the goaltender.
He could fill up most of the goal, couldn't he?
6'6", that'll get the job done.
Yeah, long arms and the whole bit.
Yeah.
Hey, the Colts have been impressive, though, haven't they?
They've been
come
very
back
impressive. I mean,
this had every reason to kind of roll over there early and just did what the Colts do.
And particularly with the way their offense has been struggling in recent weeks, you're getting a look at Vinatieri knocking this one down to Jervis Norwood, who's getting a lot of action tonight. And Norwood is going to be stopped right there. Take a look at that last scoring drive. 4 plays, 48 yards. Didn't take them long, only a minute 35.
This is getting to be a little routine, but once again, we see what happens when you're not getting the pass rush on Peyton Manning. And I think some of those tired defensive linemen who end up getting stuck in the game in those situations, it gets tough on them, man. You just can't come play after play like that.
We talked about the Colts' offensive problems. Their offense had scored 22 points in each of the first 7 games. Then the last 3, they'd gone 21, 20, and 13, and part of that was with a defensive touchdown. So they were stumbling, but they found it tonight.
Weren't you assuming they'd bounce back, though?
Yeah, you would think. Completed on the near side to Dunn. So if you're Atlanta, what then do you do? You're not getting the pressure you did before. He's picking you apart in the middle, and when you try to shut that down, he's finding what he wants to Gonzalez or Wayne.
You know, I hate to say it, but I don't think the Falcons are uncomfortable where they are in this ball game. To go in with the way that Peyton Manning's playing and be down 21-13 with a chance to score here, if they could just hit a few more plays like that one right there. They're missing some passes barely, and I tell you, I think it's been more the receivers missing balls than it's been Joey Harrington.
Michael Jenkins dropped that one.
Harrington's job is to keep the ball low, don't come up with a tippable ball. He's throwing them in a spot. It's not an easy catch, but it is a catchable ball.
And so Harrington, looking at 3rd and 6, is where this figures to be the final play before the 2-minute warning. It would behoove the Falcons to retain possession. Harrington flushed, looking for room, not finding any. Dropped in the arms of Simeon Rice, who is reunited with Tony Dungy now that Dwight Freeney has been lost for the year. The Colts will get it one more time as we move inside the 2-minute mark. Their offense is humming. They're up 21-13. Last night, we gratefully had the chance to enjoy Thanksgiving dinner, courtesy of Mr. Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons, and his lovely wife, Stephanie. They welcomed us into their offices here in town. You get a look at Rich McKay, their GM. It was a fun night. It was a good dinner.
Good to have the Road Warriors with a place to eat a little turkey. I think I've had 4 turkey dinners so far since I've been here.
You had one tonight.
I know. I love it. And it's great hospitality here in Atlanta, and certainly thank you, Arthur and Rich McKay and Stephanie, for. It's a tough night to be away from the family, and but they made us all feel like family last night.
Those 2 guys don't eat much turkey, Blank and McKay. They both still run. McKay runs marathon. Blank runs marathons.
No thanks.
Kanan gets this one away. And that's TJ Rushing getting his first return of the night. He's pushed out at the 40. We have a little bit of extracurricular activity, but it's not going to amount to much.
And we didn't get a lot of chance to talk about that last drive for the Atlanta Falcons, but that was clearly a tough situation for them. They want to be aggressive. They want to try and get some points on the board before the half. But what happened by throwing the ball, you're stopping the clock. And oh, by the way, here comes number 18 now with 1:43 to play. So we'll see. The Falcons defense really needs to hold on to their hat right here, come out of this hopefully without any points at all, and then it's just a one-score game.
If they could get in the locker room at 21-13, I think they'd consider that better than they expect.
Because right now, after a very shaky start, it seems like the Colts, and in particular this offensive line, this remade offensive line, is starting to settle in a bit.
And the Colts still have 2 timeouts. Starting this one from their own 40, and Manning will throw on first down, wrapped up in the arms of Michael Boley.
They go right back to the way they started the game now. This time they come back, and Boley comes with a blitz from the outside in. They occupy all the defensive linemen, and Boley's going to come on a blitz right up the middle here as they bring one more than the Colts can block. But you can tell Ryan Lilligett, Jeff Saturday that time just not quite on the same page as far as picking that one up.
And Kenton Keith couldn't get there in time.
Well, that's part of the deal too. Joseph Adai out of the ball game. You bring in the backup, doesn't have the experience blocking in this offense.
9-yard loss. Manning, pump fake, steps up, ball is stripped. Manning dives on it.
Guess who? Michael Boley again. Now, I think this is the right strategy. You make it too easy. I saw the San Diego Chargers in the last ball game do the exact same thing. They had a completely reshuffled offensive line for the Colts, and they sat back in zones. And now you're sitting there and you're going, the Atlanta Falcons, yeah, it's dangerous to come after Peyton Manning and single up man coverage on the outside against these receivers. But what's the lesser of two evils? I don't want him sitting back there for 5 seconds and picking me apart.
So Adai is back in the ball game. 3rd sack by Boley tonight. We're moving inside 20 seconds. And it's 3rd and 21. And the Colts seem willing to settle. They give it to Adai. He hangs on to it as he crosses the 35. And the Falcons will use their second timeout.
Their second.
Well, you got to be careful rushing the kicker here now after what happened to him last time. That really turned the ball game around to some extent.
Although, does it matter at this point? I mean, so you rough him. So the Colts get one more shot. They're out of time.
Yeah, I'm with you. I say go get him.
Go get him.
Peyton Manning, he said, I liked it better when they weren't blitzing. They were just sitting back and let me try to pick you apart. But Michael Boley just having a huge night so far. And it's good that he is. I'm glad to see a guy that plays on a team that doesn't get a lot of national exposure having a chance in front of a national audience to come out and prove what he's done really in all games throughout the course of this season. He's really an outstanding young player, very athletic, strong, explosive at the point of attack. We've seen him in there against Dallas Clark, basically in some man coverage type situations, playing really well.
And a feel-good story, too. He's a young man who went to court to gain custody of his young son who was afflicted with autism. And he says his son's making great strides. They did go after Smith once again, and Smith is lying in a heap at the 27-yard line, looking at Mike Carey for help. Carey saying, get up.
It was almost the exact same situation. DeMario Williams, again, that time fell underneath Hunter Smith, and again Hunter Smith fell down. Maybe not quite as good an acting job this time. But you're going to see, there he is.
He had to step forward to fall on him.
Good little fake. He was probably bummed out he didn't fall on him.
And so we would fully expect Harrington and the Falcons to genuflect and get out of here for the half. And they will. So our first half has come to a close. Strange half. First quarter was all Falcons. Second quarter was all Colts. They scored on 3 consecutive possessions. And it's the Colts who are leading the Falcons in the Georgia Dome 21-13 is our halftime score. Stay tuned. Rich and the guys are back in just a moment with the Wendy's halftime show right after the break. On this Thanksgiving evening, the Falcons and Colts in the first half engaged in the tale of 2 quarters. It was all Falcons early on. Michael Boley leading the defense. Roddy White enjoying a fine evening on offense. But in the second quarter, Peyton Manning got it going. He went 8 of 10 in the second quarter for 3 scores, giving him 11 for 15. And it's the Colts who have managed to move out on top now by a score of 21-13. This after the Falcons had gone out in front 10-0. We're back inside Atlanta's Georgia Dome, where the Falcons inside have got to be looking at this. And what kind of adjustments do they make as they come back out, Chris? What do you do with a guy who is picking you apart over the middle, and when you try to shut it down, looks to the outside and has Anthony Gonzalez having a great evening?
Well, that's been a question for a lot of defenses over the past couple of years. I'm not sure anybody.
Okay, you're not a coordinator. I'm sorry.
They don't have the answer to it because Peyton has just been that good. And for most defenses, you have such a tough decision to make. Do you just sit there and play against the pass all day? Joseph Adai now has proven that he's good enough. He can run the football against you. And all of a sudden you come in at all to try and help against the run, and there's no way to handle the guys on the outside. Oh, by the way, they don't even have Marvin Harrison at the game tonight.
Conversely, Atlanta do anything offensively that they should be encouraged about?
Yeah, I thought they had a good first half. I really did. This is one of the lowest scoring offensive teams in the league, and Joey Harrington has played well.
Profonzo Thorpe gets upended as he crosses the 30. Looked like he had some running room, but that hole closed in a hurry.
Well, and here comes another really big drive. The Falcons defense at the end of the first half managed to make a stop by blitzing, by trying to get after Peyton Manning. You know that they went in at halftime, had a little discussion about that, probably going to add a little protection with tight ends or backs staying in now to try and give Peyton a little time. But usually when that happens, they come back and start running the ball.
Well, let's see. Adai, as we said, is back in the ball game. The word from the Colts locker room is that he is fine. There are no limitations on what he can or can't do, at least no physical limitations. He'll get it to open the second half, and Jamal Anderson will bring him down at 35.
Anytime you see Peyton Manning under center, you see that little tap that we just saw. But really, it was the taps that was on Peyton Manning in the first half that is really unusual. Last year, he was touched on plays, not sacked necessarily, but just touched 12% of the time. So far this year, up around 20% of the time. So clearly these offensive line woes have had their impact on this offense.
In and out of the arms of Reggie Wayne, the rookie once again on the coverage. Chris Houston, who's having a pretty good night when you consider that he's basically the man being targeted.
Yeah, and the reason he's being targeted, obviously, is D'Angelo Hall, who's the loneliest guy, sort of the Maytag repairman on the other side. They don't want to throw his way.
3rd and 5. They'll throw Houston's way again and complete this one to Reggie Wayne for what would appear to be their first down of the second half.
And what happens to you is you get unsettled. Chris Houston that time just simply wasn't ready to play. He was walking around. Peyton Manning saw him with his back turned to the play, snapped the football, and Reggie Wayne comes out and then has an easy completion. Here you'll see it again under center when Peyton Manning, he's going to go back to the shotgun now. But anytime Peyton Manning wants the ball under center, you'll see him tap Jeff Saturday's thigh to let him know when to snap it.
Pump fakes to this side, looking for Wayne again, in and out of his hands. Chris Houston was trailing on the play, but he was beaten.
Boy, and I hate to say it for Reggie Wayne, but sure makes you think about the New England Patriot game. And if Reggie Wayne had made a catch in that one, they might have knocked off the world's greatest team. Little pump fake after they hit a couple of outs on the outside, go double move. Chris Houston clearly beaten. Would not have been an easy catch, but a catch we've seen Reggie Wayne make.
You know, Houston's playing well tonight. So much is made of the Matt Schaub trade down here. It should be noted that Houston was picked with that extra second pick that came in the Schaub trade. So it's not like the Falcons got nothing. Manning will throw on 2nd and 10 and complete to Anthony Gonzalez, who's having his best night as a pro.
Yeah, and that time Peyton Manning, that took Chris Houston across the field, took him off of Reggie Wayne, moved D'Angelo Hall over here. And so where do you think Peyton Manning went? He doesn't care who the receiver is. He just wants to go after Chris Houston. That time it was Anthony Gonzalez. And it's a cruel world out there. Well, they say you can run, but you cannot hide.
They do find you.
He doesn't care. He's going to go, okay, 23, you're going to be on my right. I'm going to my right.
And he had just enough for the first down. And this time he is again to Manning's right. Let's see where he goes. He'll throw over the middle to Adai. Adai slips the tackle there in and out of the arms of Keith Brooklyn before he's brought down by John Abraham, short of the first down.
And you always wonder, can a defense pick up on that little tap, you know, when he's going to snap the football? And obviously when you're in a road situation with the crowd noise and all that, it's just yet another way to snap the football. But it's pretty consistent, and anytime Peyton's under center, you'll see it.
Houston gets a breather. He's on the sidelines. He's been replaced by Jimmy Williams, second-year man out of Virginia Tech. And Manning will go to work this side. Dallas Clark in the arms of Crocker, but he would seem to have enough for the first.
You've got Chris Crocker, who's proven to be a pretty versatile guy. Probably one of the weaknesses on this Atlanta Falcons defense is the lack of a nickel corner. They have to bring their safety, Chris Crocker, out of the free safety position in the nickel and bring him down to play the slot receivers. That's not something you very often see in this league, but clearly the Falcons short at the cornerback position.
So a new set of downs for the Colts offense. Peyton does work the clock, but never seems to get caught. He completes this one again to Gonzalez. And it's another first down for the Colts. Lewis Sanders on the stop. Don't forget, NFL Network has the best NFL highlights show on TV. NFL Game Day, Sunday nights at 11:30 Eastern. That's NFL Network, where you can get football 24/7.
Well, you can indeed get football 24/7. It has become a great tool for me to use during the course of the week. All the different programming that they have, the replays and the studio shows and the analysis, and all the guys in the studio do such a great job. It's really a fun network to watch.
With that catch, Gonzalez goes over the 100-yard mark. He's got 102 on 5 catches tonight. First down, Colts. Manning with people at his feet. Throws this one into the arms of D'Angelo Hall. He was looking for Reggie Wayne, but it was Hall who had position.
Boy, that's a fool me once, shame on me kind of situation. D'Angelo Hall was beaten on a double move last week by Joey Galloway in Tampa Bay. This week he didn't bite and comes up with a huge interception.
And so Harrington and the Falcons offense will take over deep in their own territory, trailing by 8. Peyton Manning has just thrown his 12th pick of the year, and that's got the Atlanta Falcon fans a little excited. Their field position is not great, just inside their own 7-yard line, but they've got the ball away from number 18. That's a good thing.
And they're still just down 1 touchdown.
They're in the ball game. That's Courtney Anderson in motion. Harrington with the play fake, throwing from in his own end zone. Just tosses it away. Was throwing on the far side for Roddy White. We've got a flag on the play.
Holding. Offense number 76. Half the distance to the goal. Still first down.
Thankfully not in the end zone. So we'd be looking at a 10-point deficit.
We'll go back to the interception. John Abraham's the guy that was sort of at the feet of Peyton Manning on that play, but this little slant and go is exactly what Joey Galloway burned D'Angelo Hall on for a touchdown just last week, and D'Angelo said, not 2 times in a row. Got you this time, and that's why you don't throw that side. I mean, he is a tremendous player and a guy that
Top 5 corner?
No question. And right here, had fellas. A big blow up with Bobby Petrino earlier this season, and some uncomfortable moments within this football team, and especially for Bobby Petrino and D'Angelo Hall, that they're probably still working their way through.
2nd and 10. Harrington will give it this time to Dunn. And Dunn works his way across the 15-yard line, close to a first down. Will leave the Falcons with 3rd and short. You mentioned that Hall had that encounter with Petrino earlier this year, and with good cause, actually, on Petrino's part, because it could be argued that the Carolina game came down to this.
Yeah, Steve Smith and D'Angelo Hall getting after each other all day, and then the pass interference, and they were mouthing, and just penalties basically on the game-winning drive, all attributed to D'Angelo Hall, and Petrino had seen enough, and boy, it got a little ugly over there on the sideline.
3rd and short. Dunn will get the first down, up the middle, takes it to the 20. Meanwhile, by all accounts, Hall is a good guy.
Yeah.
Not the kind of guy who gets in trouble off the field, a good teammate. He's just a volatile personality.
Yeah, and really for Bobby Petrino, the veteran players will tell you that he's a little different. You know, they had Jim Mora here, and they weren't so used to somebody coming in and not having a relationship. Algie Crumpler's had issues with him as well. They say just, you know, they used to see him in the opening meeting of the week and see him at practice, and that was about it. He just didn't care if he had a relationship with the players.
In and out of the arms of Roddy White. That's got to be at least 4 drops tonight by Falcons receivers. White came up looking for the flag. Looked like Marlon Jackson might have gotten away with one. Let's take a look.
Well, there's no question. Marlon Jackson, one of the most physical corners that plays out there, probably got a little late bump, got a little grab, got a little early hold, jersey pull, all those things. But Marlon Jackson and Kelvin Hayden, they're a different breed of cornerback. Those two guys probably played inside linebacker in high school. That's the mentality they play with.
Well, Jackson played a lot of safety last year as well as corner. So, yeah, he likes to hit. Speaking of hit, give Raheem Brock credit.
And Roddy White
for that inside.
Taking it out on Kelvin Hayden. But one of the interesting things that the Colts do is they play so much of that Tampa 2 that they don't have to have really fast cornerbacks. These two guys are 4.55 kind of guys. The two safeties are actually much faster than the two cornerbacks, but they need a physical presence on the outside and guys that can come up and play the run. And actually, in dime situations, they move those two guys inside and bring guys in off the bench to play the two wideouts.
3rd and long. If the Falcons can't convert here, the Colts will have good field position, and they will. Give Raheem Brock credit for the sack. And the Falcons will have to give up the football. Before we leave the subject of Petrino, a guy who has won only 3 of his first 10 ball games, if he's looking for solace, he need only look across the field, where Tony Dungy in his first year and his first coaching job was 2-8 after his first 10
Yeah,
games.
but no one could ever accuse Tony Dungy of not having relationships with his players. I mean, that's clearly Tony Dungy's strong suit. Everybody loves him that plays for him. And I think Bobby Petrino had to work it trying to win this football team over. It's a lot tougher to do when you're not winning.
What a boomer by Kanan. Pushes rushing back to his 36-yard line. And he's brought down at the 45. There's Petrino. We'll come back and talk about him a little bit more. With 8:18 to go in the 3rd period, the Colts are leading at 21-13. The Colts take over on their own 46. We'll let them start this drive. And then just another note about head coach Bobby Petrino of the Falcons. The give is to Adai, looking for room this side. He won't find it. So many of the problems that Petrino has had have stemmed from a unique problem, which was the fallout from the Michael Vick dogfighting scandal. And it distracted his team and it distanced him from his team. And I asked him about it, and I said, if you had it to do over again, would you do anything different? He said, yes, he wouldn't be so football focused, that he really had underestimated the extent to which it would carry over and impact his team on the field and in the locker room.
You know, a lot of times after the fact, it's easier to see something than it is in the moment. And I think Petrino has learned a lot in the same way Tom Coughlin's learned a lot about his football team.
Completes this one to Clark. Petrino's circumstance, I guess I'm saying, was not just unusual, it was unique.
Yeah, and let's face it, even last week the quarterback situation got him a little uncomfortable.
He says he'd like to reassess that too.
Yeah, I bet he would. Byron Leftwich was brought in and just did not play well after Joey Harrington won 2 games in a row and ended a little momentum for this football team.
3rd and 6. Abraham jumped but got back. Manning, through a sea of arms, throws for Gonzalez, and he gets the flag he was looking for. And it's our man Chris Houston again.
Chris Houston was sitting there with this little boy look on his face, his hands crossed in front of him going, it wasn't me, I promise you, it wasn't me.
Interference. Defense number 23 in the spot of the foul. Automatic. First down.
You can read Petrino's lips. He says, that's so bad.
Yeah, you know, and it's just yet another big play. You try and play these guys head up, and clearly it was Chris Houston with that back arm They
wrapped
allow
around.
you to put it on him, but when you take the hip and turn it in some way, they're going to call it every time. I think that's a good call by the official. Of course, I think all pass interference calls are good calls by the official after playing wide receiver for a while.
And so the Colts get it into Falcons territory. This drive starts at the 44.
Oh.
Reggie Wayne.
Oh, and then Ben Utek
By
about
his
knocked
own
him
guy.
out. What a great audible that time by Peyton Manning. They're coming with a blitz right up the middle. Peyton saw it all the way, goes to the quick screen on the outside, and Reggie Wayne probably goes in untouched if he makes the easiest catch he's had an opportunity to make tonight.
Easier than the one down here on the left side that was in and out of his arms?
Well, maybe not.
2nd and 10.
Yeah, I'd point at Michael Boley, too.
He gives to Kenton Keith. Kenton Keith will have a first down on the left side, cuts it back across the 30 before being brought down by Jimmy Williams.
Boy, Keith Brooking that time had a chance to make a play in the open field on a tackle and just got faked out of his shoes. He thought that Keith was going to cut back against the grain. You see, Brooking is like, oh, God. It's hard to catch those guys.
Funny, I had that ankle yesterday.
Yeah.
Another first down for the Colts. This one at the 27. Play fake to Keith. Manning looking this side. Wayne corrals this one and then steps out of bounds. Don't forget, NFL Network has the 5 best NFL games each and every week re-aired in an enhanced 90-minute show. NFL Replay, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And of course, that's only on NFL Network.
I think the Falcons that time tipped their coverage just a little bit, Bryant. They showed man coverage over the tight end that time, and Peyton Manning knew he had some easy one-on-one matchups on the outside and took advantage.
Our guy Chris Williams at the top of the screen, but it's Adai running inside and running to the 3-yard line. And Michael Boley is down and writhing in pain.
What a night Michael Boley has had. 3 sacks of Peyton Manning this evening. Only one other player has ever done that to Peyton Manning, Steve Foley, and certainly hope he's okay.
Well, we'll come back and check his condition after we take a break. It's 21-13 in the Georgia Dome. Michael Boley, who has been Atlanta's best defender tonight with 8 tackles and 3 sacks, has gone to the sidelines. And so the Falcons in a makeshift defense now have 5 D-backs and 2 linebackers in there. Just Keith Brooking and Tony Taylor in at linebacker, and Taylor's just a rookie.
Here they come. Peyton sees it.
1st and goal from the 3. Adai, touchdown Colts. That looked easy.
Sure did. Chris Crocker had a wide open look at Adai coming straight at him and just simply couldn't get him on the ground. One-on-one tackling had a major impact on that drive for the Falcons. But let's face it, this Falcons defense, a couple of tough injuries this week to Rod Coleman and Trey Lewis, their 2 starting defensive tackles, and they're just getting worn out inside. They're used to playing a wave of players through there, a lot of substitutions, and tonight guys like Montavious Stanley and Jonathan Babineau and guys are just having to play too much.
And Vinatieri makes it 28-13. So the Falcons, who had things going all their own way early on when they jumped to a 10-0 lead, have now been outscored 28-3, and there's just 5 minutes left in the third. They're trailing 28-13. The Indianapolis Colts have just taken a 28-13 lead over the Atlanta Falcons inside the Georgia Dome. And right now the Falcon defense, what they need most is a breather. They need their offense to stay on the field for more than 3 plays and give them a chance to try to resettle themselves. This is Norwood, 3 yards deep. He's coming right, slips 1 tackle. There's a flag as he's brought down at the 23. We'll wait for Mike Carey. Let's go, Mike.
There was no foul for illegal block in the back. The block was on the side. First down.
And so it'll be 1st and 10 from the 23. Earlier today, Green Bay Packers took care of business. They remain with only one loss this year as they pretty much wiped out the Lions 37-26. Looks a lot, the score was a lot closer than the game was. The Cowboys really laid one on the Jets. They too have only one loss. And so that sets up a awful big showdown next week in Dallas. We've got the Packers and the Cowboys. It's the NFC game of the year.
And we're a little excited about it. It's going to be a whole lot of fun.
This is Norwood carrying off the left side, slips a tackle there before he's pushed out of bounds. Yeah, the Packers and the Cowboys, quite frankly, are the class of the NFC right now, each of them with only one loss. And it's two teams with a great history and a great history of games against one another.
Yeah, and it's two tremendous stories at the quarterback position. Brett Favre, I don't know of any quarterback that gets to be 38 years old and gets better with what he's doing, but he has taken this young team and thrown them on his back, and the way their defense is playing is just tremendous. He's smiling almost as much as Tony Romo these days, who smiles all the time, and why not? He's the young phenom in the league who seems to enjoy playing football as much as Brett Favre does.
Ouch, what a stick.
I don't think
what a stick, Gary Brackett.
Playing anymore.
What a stick by Gary Brackett.
I love Gary Brackett as a football player. I got to tell you, here's a guy that a little like Bob Sanders, about 5'8", playing middle linebacker, and he's just everywhere. You remember the interception he made against the New England Patriots, that one-handed catch? He plays that Tampa too. He runs down the middle of the field, takes great pride in that, but also is able to come up and just stuff plays on the run. He is just a complete football player, and everybody acknowledges he is the leader of that defense.
A guy who was a walk-on at Rutgers and wound up not only winning himself a scholarship, but being the captain of the team. We've got another flag inside. This one could be holding Atlanta. That was Jason Snelling with the carry. But it looks like this one is going to be back in the Falcons' hand.
Holding, offense number 70. 10-yard penalty is still third.
Anthony Batiste gets flagged. Interestingly enough, Batiste was a scratch before the game, and Keenan Forney, who was supposed to start at right guard, came down ill, and so it was Forney who was the scratch, and Batiste gets the holding call.
Yeah, it was either a hold or a Thanksgiving hug, one of the two, right around the neck. And for Batiste, it's been a long night tonight. He really has struggled, and I don't care which team you are. If you have three of your starting offensive linemen out, which the Atlanta Falcons do, it's going to be a tough night.
3rd and 11. Harrington completing to Roddy White. And that is a much-needed first down, not so much for the Falcons offense, but for the Falcons D.
And this has been a much-needed year for Roddy White. He was a guy that was beginning to be considered a bit of a bust, off to a very slow start in his career, but he kept after it, kept working. Seems to understand running routes and reading defenses more. You know, one of the things that young receivers don't get a lot of in college is the knowledge and the ability to read defenses on the fly, because what you see pre-snap in the NFL is not what you're going to get by the time that ball snaps.
And they need Roddy White. He is their one legit deep threat. Oh, bad throw. Harrington picked off. Rocky Boyman. Rocky Boyman backtracking. Needs a block, can't find it, brought down at the 23.
And for Joey Harrington, LaRon Robinson has been the guy he just can't figure out. He doesn't know what he's doing tonight. He thought he was going to hook up there underneath. He kept going deep. LaRon said, I thought I was supposed to go to the post on that one, and he looks a little lonely on the sideline. Joey's probably going to hunt him up here in a few minutes. He takes off and runs right by Rocky Boyman. And Joey Harrington thought he was going to be there and just threw it right to Boyman.
Rocky will never get an easier one. And yes, that is his real first name, by the way. It is Rocky. Rocky Michael Boyman.
Getting a chance to play because of some injuries on the outside, filling in for Rob Morris, who had such a great run through the playoffs last year for this Colt defense. Really gave them a physical presence that they didn't have.
Kenton Keith has replaced Adai in the backfield, and he'll get the ball and come this side. Finding running room around the left side, getting close to the first down marker. Looks like he'll be spotted about a yard short.
And Michael Tadu's in the game now, playing left tackle, I assume, for the Colts. I was talking to Peyton Manning about the Super Bowl, and he said at one point that he came in the huddle and he saw Charlie Johnson in the Super Bowl, and he said, "Hello, Charlie." He said, "How long you been in here?" He said, "Oh, about a quarter and a half." He said, "You'd think I would have recognized who was playing in the game, but I was kind of distracted a little bit."
The Colts came into this game with only 7 offensive linemen suited for tonight. They've done yeoman duty. This is Keith again, spinning for the first down, would seem to have enough. Keith Brooking couldn't stop him.
Keith Brooking made a nice play that time, got penetration, got on the other side of the line of scrimmage, but
first down Colts.
Awfully tough to get Kenton Keith
There's Charlie.
Down. Hello, Charlie. I mean,
we're told he has a hammy problem, and that's why he's got the hat on instead of the headgear.
That's a face you couldn't easily forget. You know, he's over there doing his job, and I think that's the ultimate compliment to an offensive lineman when Peyton Manning didn't even know that the backup was in the game.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
This is Keith again. We want to again welcome those of you joining us on NFL.com and NFL Mobile. It's Thursday Night Football on NFL Network. That's right up your alley, you high-tech somebody. You are.
I know.
You got all the toys. I'm very impressed.
I've got all the toys and somebody to help me work them. Andy Freeland sitting right over here. I'm good at turning them on and hitting the buttons.
You're talking to a guy who still carries a Filofax.
I realize that. You and Bob Costas have a lot in common.
It's 2nd and 2 from just outside the 5-yard line. We've moved inside a minute in the third period. Manning throwing this one on the far side for Gonzalez. Young Chris Houston comes up clapping. Wasn't completed and wasn't a penalty.
Yeah, he says, I've stopped now 2 for 15 today. It's just the way that it is. I don't care how good you are as a rookie. When you have D'Angelo Hall on the other side, it's like having Champ Bailey or Deion Sanders. I don't care who you are. They're going to throw your way until you prove otherwise, and especially after D'Angelo Hall got the interception. He hasn't seen another one thrown his way all night.
Good way to get a lot of experience.
Well, they have Reggie Wayne in the slot to the right. Bit of an unusual thing, and it's giving the Falcons a strange look. Dallas Clark flanked out to the left, and Peyton's not going to get it off.
We'll take a break along with Peyton and the Colts with 40 seconds left to play in the third period. Colts are barking at the door yet again. With 40 seconds to play in the third period, Colts have taken a timeout, facing a 3rd and 2 and holding a 28-13 lead.
Right back to the same formation again with Reggie Wayne in the slot to the right. Dallas Clark out here to the left with Chris Crocker on him.
And that's Williams along with Gonzalez at the top of your screen. Chris Houston, excuse me. Manning will roll that side, throwing for Wayne.
It's been a nice adjustment by the Falcons out here, putting D'Angelo Hall over on Reggie Wayne. That time, the speed of D'Angelo Hall able to come out. They were trying to get a little pick, a little rub going on the outside, running Gonzalez underneath him. But D'Angelo fast enough to run over the top of that and still get it. I think that Peyton, that wasn't a great throw by him because all he had to do was really stick it on his numbers and he would have had his first down.
This one will be a field goal attempt from 24 yards out. Adam Vinatieri is having a very un-Adam-like year, but that one's good. And so the Colts have assumed a 31-13 lead with less than a minute remaining in the third. We're going to come back, see what the Falcons can do. You can see the story of this ball game there in the corner, 31-13 Colts with just 32 seconds remaining in the third period. You're taking a look at some of the snapshots, one of the features we've got this year. This camera is connected directly to our truck. So now and then we'll be able to show you glimpses of stop action that you can't get anywhere else. And Vinatieri will kick this one away to the very busy Mr. Norwood, who takes it as a 1. And that's going nowhere. Back to the 25, we get a late flag.
A tired, frustrated football team now with the Atlanta Falcons.
During the return, holding, receiving team number 67. 10-yard penalty, the retained possession, first down.
Another special teams penalty on the Falcons, and this has just been one of their many problems this year.
Yeah, for a guy like Ben Wilkerson, a big old offensive lineman out there trying to make an open field block, he got himself in position, and your feet, they want to do it, but they just don't move as fast as some of those guys on the other side of the field.
With 20 seconds left till we hit the fourth quarter, this does not bode well for the Falcons. They've lost their last 26 in which they trailed entering the fourth. That is the longest streak in the NFL.
Yeah, but you never know. Don't go to bed.
Snelling and Norwood behind Harrington. Snelling is the up back. It's Norwood who gets it. And he gets back to the 20-yard line. That may be the last play of the third period.
Well, that Jarius Norwood is an exciting young man, though. I think his shortest touchdown run of his career is like 67 yards. When he gets in the open field, you can just forget about it. And he needs to find a way to stay a little healthier and stay on the field.
He is dinged up all the time, isn't he?
He is. It's his issue.
And so we'll move to the fourth period. Norwood and the Falcons will see what they can find out here. They're on the short end of a 31-13 score. Joey Harrington started this game pretty hot, but he has cooled off quite a bit. This evening he is 8 for 22, 113 yards, and there aren't many NFL games where that's going to get it done.
No, and let's face it, he's auditioning out here for next year.
He completes this one to Norwood, and Norwood juking his way to the 28 would seem to have an Atlanta first down, and that's welcome.
Yeah, and I've got to say that Joey Harrington may not be the answer, and personally I don't think Byron Leftwich is either because of his slow release. We've talked so much about Peyton Manning and his quick release. We actually compared Peyton Manning's release to Byron Leftwich, and you can just tell the difference. With Leftwich, he has the big looping motion in that arm, and the difference from a time standpoint, about double, 3 or 4 tenths of a second, which in the NFL means about 5 or 6 yards of time to break on the football. And breaking on the football creates situations like that right there. It's just...
Roddy White was fortunate on the deflection.
He really was. And, that's what you have to remember, that in this league, guys are so fast and so athletic that literally you have to compare their times to sort of the 100-meter dash guys in the Olympics, and you give them 3 or 4 tenths of a second, and that's about 7 yards.
Unfortunately, Leftwich looks more like Kurt Schilling than Peyton Manning when he winds up.
Without the ankle stain.
Well, let's not talk about that. This is done. Finding nothing on the left side. Been a tough night for work.
Well, you've got a little zone blocking scheme coming out here. You don't see as much of this out of the Atlanta Falcons, where those offensive linemen sort of move together to the outside. That was essentially what they did under Alex Gibbs for so long here, and did it successfully, running the football. Now you're seeing with Bobby Petrino, they want to draft some bigger offensive linemen, do more of the double teaming kind of block, play a little more power football.
Well, when he came here, he said that his priorities were, let's get a big fullback, and he went out and got Mahaley, and he said he wants big linemen, and he wants to be able to pound the football.
I don't know if that works great unless you're able to make a total transition. A guy like Todd McClure at center was tremendous in those zone blocking schemes because he's smaller, quicker, faster, could get out in front of people. But now you're essentially asking him to take the nose tackle and double team him and get movement off the ball. It's the wrong guy. So now, anytime you change coaches, you end up changing philosophy. You have to change personnel, and it's a whole cycle to it.
Kanan with another booming punt pins the Colts back at the 12-yard line. They'll go to work there just inside 12:30 to play on Thanksgiving night in Atlanta. Back inside Atlanta's Georgia Dome, the Atlanta Colts, I'm all right. The Indianapolis Colts have things going their own way. They're up 31-13 and seem poised to move to 9-2 this year. This is a die running out of bounds. That the Colts are going to find success again this year comes as a surprise to no one who knows Tony Dungy. Take a look at this graphic. Minimum 75 games. Best record of one coach with one team. Look at Tony Dungy.
Yeah, I recognize George Seifert and Tony Dungy. Who's that guy in the middle? I don't know if I know him or
Frank
not.
Caliendo.
Yeah. Oh. John Madden, of course, and 3 terrific coaches right there. But Tony Dungy really changed what was an acceptable style of coaching in the NFL. He's not a screamer. He's not a yeller. He's not a guy in the traditional Lombardi kind of mold. And
completed on the outside to Wayne. You're right. He is a very different kind of guy. And the funny thing is, I spoke with him about this yesterday. I'm wondering why he's never mentioned as a genius. I mean, we keep hearing of all these other guys whose records are not equal to Tony's, and they are referred to throughout the league as a genius. There's supposedly a genius in Baltimore. There's supposedly a genius in Seattle. Nobody ever applies the term to Tony, and his record is superlative.
Yeah, you win another Super Bowl, you'll be a genius. I mean, really, honestly, I think that those guys, the Bill Walshes and the Belichicks and some of those guys like that, have had multiple Super Bowls. Mike Shanahan was a genius when they went back to back. So
but
maybe
you hear it applied to Billick, you hear it applied to Holmgren, and I'm not saying they're not. I'm simply saying, where's Tony's props?
Yeah, I hear you, and he's done it everywhere he's gone. So, you know, it was interesting, and I asked him one time, and maybe this is too far out of bounds, but, you know, when he wasn't getting hired as a head coach, I said, do you think race comes into it at all? And he said, you know, I don't think so. You know, other than the fact that a lot of these owners have seen a certain profile of man who has won Super Bowls. They're all about winning. He said, if I had to say one thing more than anything else, it's my laid-back style that they were afraid of. That the fact that you didn't have a guy that screamed and yelled at the players and got in their face, and that's what they grew up recognizing as winning football coaches. But the game has changed. You know, free agency has changed a lot of things. These players have choices now of where they can go and what they can do and who they want to play for. And I don't know of anybody around the National Football League that just doesn't totally respect Tony Dungy for not only his approach, but the way that he coaches the game. His Tampa 2 is now the staple in the NFL.
And you look at the people who've come from the Tony Dungy tree who are very much like his personality, like Herm Edwards, like Lovie Smith in Chicago. And it kind of amplifies exactly what you were talking about, which is success breeds itself.
Yeah, and it also is a copycat business. As soon as you see somebody having success with a certain style, then others start looking for that style. And so Tony Dungy has done so much for so many people, created opportunities. And of course, last year being in the Super Bowl alongside Lovie Smith was quite a statement in and of itself.
And then after last year, of course, there was a great deal of discussion about whether Tony would step aside. And I spoke with him about it yesterday, and I said, you know, have you made any decision on how much longer you want to do this? He says, I'm going to reassess it every year. Nothing's changed. And I asked him, I said, what do you want to do if you're not doing this? He says he wants to do volunteer work.
Yeah, there's no question that he would be out getting involved in the community. That's who he is as a human being. He has a much bigger picture of the world than just what happens within this 120 by 53 yard field.
Manning will loop this one over the arms of the outstretched John Abraham, completed to Dallas Clark. What a touch.
I tell you, that is just pretty stuff. There aren't many quarterbacks in the game that would have the guts to lob this one in over the top. He saw the pressure coming from his backside, and John Abraham in his zone blitz kind of drop, falling back underneath that. Peyton Manning saw him and just dropped it in the bucket. Well, I tell you, Peyton Manning does some things.
Can there be a more frustrating guy to play?
Gosh, I mean, they had the perfect play on. They had the perfect defense. John Abraham, in a tricky kind of way, Peyton Manning was looking to his right, came back, saw him at the last second. Instead of throwing a bullet for an interception, throws the lob pass for the completion. Beautiful.
Manning will give it to a dive. Stutter steps to his left, looks for room on the right and can't find it. He's knocked down Jamal Anderson. Give him credit for the tackle.
Yeah, John Abraham that time, he's not quite as stout on the outside. He's much more of a pass rusher than he is a run player, although he uses his quickness to make plays against the run. That time it was Michael Tadeusz just bowling him over. Let's take a look. Peyton Manning now is going to try and determine what's going on. They switch John Abraham back to his right side, but Peyton with enough time on the play clock to make a change and probably go away from it.
Peyton under pressure gets sacked yet again. Is that our 4th time tonight?
It's unusual to see him go down that much. Not only has his offensive line under Howard Mudd for the past 10 years been the very best at protecting him, but Peyton Manning just typically is able to get a ball like this out. Joseph Adai with a good block on the outside, but the backside just breaks down. A lot of times Brian Fletcher, who's in the game now at one of the tight end positions, when he's put in a position where he has to block, that's trouble. He's a much better receiver than he is a blocker. Now
so it's 3rd and long for Peyton and the Colts, 3rd and 15. Got to hurry it. Just barely gets it off. Completes to Gonzalez, and this is going to be far short of the 1st down. And Hunter Smith will come on to punt.
I think Peyton thought they were coming with the blitz again, and they did that time with Chris Crocker coming to the outside, but they didn't bring the backers that time. If you remember earlier in the game, they threw that same play to Reggie Wayne, but Michael Boley that time ran back underneath it. He didn't blitz, and so the play simply wasn't there.
Hunter Smith with his 4th punt of the night. This is Adam Jennings going to let it go over his head, and it will bounce into the end zone. We've got a flag laying at about the 45-yard line, so we'll stay here. Preliminary is procedure against the Colts.
Illegal formation, offense, number 50.
They'll decline that.
Atlanta has elected to take that foul on the dead ball spot. 5-yard penalty, 1st down, timeout.
So with just 6:28 to play, Harrington and the Falcons will take the field once again. They're trailing 31-13. Don't forget, coming up next, the Home Depot post-game show. Join the entire Total Access crew. They'll have a full game recap and, of course, news from around the NFL. Falcons need points in a hurry. Harrington to Obi Mihaly. Gets close to the 1st down. Rocky Boyman wraps him up. As we've told you all night, we've had Bob Sanders wired for sound. He has, we're going to wait a play. Can I call him Demond? That's his real name. Demond Sanders.
At your own risk, brother.
Well, supposedly when he was a kid, his friends couldn't say Demond, so he asked his mom, can he change his name?
Is that right?
That's what the word is. This is Dunn with his best carry of the night. Dunn pushed out of bounds just short of the 50. We have another flag on the play.
Boy, Robert Mathis just missed on a stunt inside that time. I thought he was going to catch him in the backfield, but Warwick Dunn still has that step.
Holding, offense number 84. In the spot of the foul, 10-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
Roddy White has done a lot of good things tonight. That's one he won't be too proud of. Right there on the outside, he's got a grip.
For receivers or for anybody, once you get the grab going, of course, he'll say Kelvin Hayden was grabbing me as much as I was grabbing him. But when they see that jersey pull or the grab outside of the shoulder pad, it's almost every time. But Roddy White, 6 for 104 and a touchdown tonight, and no other Falcon coming into this drive had more than one catch.
This is Dunn getting the first down for Atlanta. Okay, we're ready for it. Let's listen in to Bob Sanders.
Yeah! Come on now. Yeah. Woo! Yes, baby! Yes! There you go! There you go!
Bob needs to get fired up.
You know, in case you couldn't tell that one because he has the mouthpiece in, he was saying, Kelvin, pitch me the ball. And Kelvin understood him. That was the amazing part about it.
This is Crumpler on this side. Did not get out of bounds. So the clock continues to run. We're inside 5 minutes. It's hard not to like Sanders. I mean, he's not only a special football player, he plays the game the right way. He's a hard kid, and he's only 5'8".
He's like work done. You know, I mean, it's a guy that you just look at him and you say, no way is he an NFL player. No way is he one of the hardest hitters in the game. But when he came back, he didn't play very much at all during the regular season last year. When he came back for the playoffs, he ignited this defense, a defense that couldn't stop the run all year long.
Harrington has time. Same play to Crumpler on this side. Let's go on down the sidelines. Adam Schefter's down there. Hey, Adam.
Thanks very much, Brian. I spoke to Greg Jennings, the Packers wide receiver, earlier today. He had 5 catches for 60 yards and 2 touchdowns. And at one point early in the game, he went over to Brett Favre and said, "You look like you're having an awful lot of fun." And Brett Favre said, "I'll be having more fun if we win the game." Well, they did win the game. They're ready for next Thursday night. And Greg Jennings also said that even though Donald Driver limped off the field today, he will play next Thursday night. And Charles Woodson, the Packers cornerback, who also was taken out of the game with a toe injury, basically was non-committal and said he needed about 24 hours to decide whether or not he would be ready for next Thursday night. Big question mark on Charles Woodson.
All right, Adam, thank you. We've got that ball game next Thursday night on NFL Network. It's the Green Bay Packers at the Dallas Cowboys. And what an evening that should be.
Yeah, Charles Woodson and Al Harris, the 2 cornerbacks on that team. And I'm really looking forward to, I'm almost certain that we'll see Al Harris playing against T.O. and maybe the 2 best at their position. Of course, there's some other good ones, but Randy Moss certainly comes to mind as well. But T.O. has settled in, hasn't he? I mean, he really looks like he's comfortable. Wade Phillips has won his trust down there, which has been a hard thing to do for T.O. I think.
But you'll allow it's easy to have trust when you're winning.
You're winning and you're catching balls and he's happy and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But I think you'd have to agree that even with all that stuff, he seems like a bit of a more mature
different person,
right? Yeah, a little bit. And he's been in the situation when Tony Romo, after the playoff game last year, had the fumble and, of course, was so devastating. It was T.O. that every day called him. Said, listen, you're our guy. I don't want you to worry about it. We're going to have a great year next year. And that's a little different T.O. maybe than what we had seen in the past.
3rd and 7. Harrington to Dunn. Short of the first. No doubt they'll go for it. 4th and a yard. We're moving close to the 2-minute mark. 2:44 left and counting. Here's a quick one for you. I think I know the answer. But in light of Brady, does Favre have a shot at MVP?
I've never seen anybody play like Tom Brady. I mean, Brett Favre's been remarkable this year, and maybe a little bit more of the surprise team. To me, the guy that's never gotten enough credit for what he's done is Mike McCarthy. I mean, you're talking about at the end of last year, they won their last 4. Now they're 10-1 this season. So basically 14-1 over their last 15 games. A remarkable effort on the part of Mike McCarthy and the Green Bay Packers.
T.J. Rushing knocks down that pass and with it destroys the last of the Falcons' hopes. We'll take a break here. 2:12 left in this ball game. It's 31-13. Just 2:12 to go in this ball game, and the Peyton and the Colts just have to put the finishing touches on their 9th victory of the year. Been a satisfying evening for those 2 safeties over there, 21 and 41. That's Sanders and Bethea. They played a big role tonight.
Yes, sir.
This is Kenton Keith, who's had a busy evening also. Keith has had 15 carries tonight. And that gets us to the 2-minute mark, and we'll come back and just do everything but count the clock down. The Colts en route to a 31-13 victory. Back inside the Georgia Dome on a Thanksgiving night, it's all but official. Colts have hit the 2-minute mark, and they're holding an 18-point lead. Oddly enough, we're not going to see the kneel down. Kenton Keith will get a little more work to what has been his busiest night as a pro.
Try to pick up one more first down. And I tell you, I have to give a little tip of the cap to offensive line coach Howard Mudd of the Colts. He has pieced this thing together. They have played just about everybody on the offensive line the last few weeks. And starting offensive tackles Ryan Deem and Tony Hugo, both out of this game. Charlie Johnson got hurt. They were down to their 3rd-string guy, Corey Hilliard's in there as well. And he's just one of the grand men of this game. And there are some guys around the league that you think about, like a Jim Johnson in Philadelphia, Monty Kiffin in Tampa Bay, Tom Moore here. Mike Westhoff, the special teams guy with the Jets, Joe Bugle, Alex Gibbs. I mean, just people that are the very fabric of the game that, you know, he has just protected the main asset of this franchise.
Plus the stability that they've managed to have in Indianapolis. He came here at the same time as Tom Moore, and they're not changing design every year. They're not changing their priorities. This figures to be the last play of the ball game. Keith will get one more carry, his 17th of the night. And the Falcons see no need to stop the clock. It looks like he has enough for the first, but maybe not. Maybe premature. Well, we still haven't gotten an official signal. Yes, there it is. So that'll do it. Our final from Atlanta inside the Georgia Dome, the Indianapolis Colts 31, the Atlanta Falcons 13. We're going to take a break and then we'll come on back inside the Dome. We'll have some final thoughts right after this.